We back at it again. How you feeling?
Feeling good, feeling great. Got some lighting today so y'all can see us.
A couple adjustments. But long story short, we got great feedback from yesterday, and yeah, we got some Q&A questions, right, in the email.
Yeah, so today's live is going to be more of like a Q&A, like just getting a feel for the artist. If you guys are not familiar, this is Go. He's an artist slash producer slash entrepreneur slash everything you can think of. This is this man right here. So we're gonna get into some Q&A questions, and yeah.
Let's get it. Let's get it.
All right. So I've cultivated some questions for you. Now he has no idea about these questions. So first one. What are some challenges you face being an independent artist?
Several. One of the first challenges I faced was, how can I explain it? Well, let me just. I started 7 years ago, doing music, going on 8, and so the first thing I realized with music was I realized my strong points, and I realized my weaknesses. That was my main thing. Like I realized like my ear was my strong point, just like when I started doing fashion, it was my vision. So my ear is like finding beats and knowing what's hot. That's my strong point.
Okay.
Some of my weaknesses was not really understanding the music as far as like knowing what it took to kind of make a successful song. So that kind of like took some time because it's,
That's part of the learning curve.
yeah, it definitely is. But one thing I would say, if you're an up and coming artist, one thing that I did, I feel like that was really beneficial, was I was really hands on since the beginning. And what I mean by that is, um, I went out and bought a blue mic. Like the day I decided, we was gonna do music, I went out and I went to Guitar Center and I bought a blue USB mic. And the first several months, I was just using GarageBand and I was getting reps up. Granted, I was around people that was in the industry somewhat, so I was going to studios. But when I was in those studios, I was kind of like trying to like just process the kind of like the flow of making music. You know what I'm saying? Just kind of like just really observant. And then I would come home and then I would just do my do, you know what I'm saying? Lay a couple tracks.
So you already had made up in your mind that you wanted to do a home studio.
Oh yeah, that was the initial. My mindset was, if I'm gonna elevate in this, I gotta have me a gym to work out in every day. And I feel like a lot of artists, when I have this conversation, it's kind of the opposite. It's kind of like, let me find a studio and an engineer to work with, and that's cool too. But I feel like what kind of propelled me to like move faster was I had an in-house, and I've always had an in-house, and I've always been able to like get more reps up. Like I truly believe like anything you do, you gotta put in a lot of repetition to get better. And so yeah, I think, to answer your question, one of my weaknesses was just not understanding how to like put together a song. But that became over time after me kind of like getting those reps up and understanding the game. Like it became natural. So
Okay. All right. Um, so how do you balance like being an artist, being a producer, being a social media marketer, a father, a husband, etc., etc., etc.? Like, how are you balancing it all? Like, what's your method or technique? How are you doing it?
I just gotta like get it done technique, where I just try to maximize the hours in a day, and I try to like spread it out. I try to make sure I give you time. I try to make sure I give seven time, and I try to make sure I give time to the creativity side. And it's no like, I don't have an exact blueprint on how to do it, but my mindset is just, I know I got to do it, so let's just get it done.
So when you wake up, are you like, okay, task one, let me do this. task 2, after I do that one, let me move on to the next one? You just wake up and be like, let me get to that.
No, it's definitely like a checklist. It's definitely like task, but it's always got to make adjustments because nothing's never in stone, especially nowadays. So throughout the day, I might set, I might have to be like, okay, around 6 o'clock, we got to do this.
Yeah.
So I came home today around 3, a little bit earlier after I was out doing what I had to do. And we was, having a conversation, dialogue on like, what we was gonna do for the episode. And then in between that time, I'm with Seven. She's showing me her drawings. I gotta give her time. I gotta, give her feedback. And then I have to explain to her, like, me and mommy's going live for an hour. So I gotta give that dialogue on, this and that. So it's nothing in stone. It's just always making adjustments throughout the day. And that's kind of like how this all kind of.
Okay. Is there anything like you can give advice wise, like on maximizing your time, like for other artists, or
wake up early? The earlier you wake up, the more time you have throughout the day to be maximized. So if it's anything I can share is this, try to wake up early so you can stretch your day out, and really treat it like treat it like a 9 to 5, but just know sometimes you got to put in overtime. You got to put in overtime a lot of times, you know what I'm saying? But if you treat it like it's a job, and then you just, when you got to put in the overtime, you put in the overtime, you're going to see it manifest quicker because you're not going to just be doing stuff. Like you're going to have a schedule that every day you kind of chopping off the block. You know what I'm saying? You getting closer and closer to the goal.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times, a lot of artists, they use the word artist and they use free, and free could be like low key detrimental to like your growth because you think you got all this free time because you an entrepreneur, you're an artist, but really that's handicapping you. So if you treat this as like a 9 to 5, and then you gotta put a lot of overtime though.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But if you have that mindset, I think it's easier to kind of like get closer to the goal, to opposed to like, oh, I'm an artist, I do what I want to do when I want to do it. Yeah. Like you got to get to that point.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's after a few hurdles after you jumped over.
That's somebody in the chat. What's good, McDouble? That's love, man. Thank you for tapping in, man. Okay. That's love.
Well, I know for me, let me just give my little 2 cents. For me, I have to visually see it. So like for me, I have to write it down and then I got to get to it. So like I got to start, checking off, task 1, and then check it off, move on to the next. So that's a good way to incorporate into
what you're doing. Well, now that you're an artist, how do you feel like, because this is new to you, so how do you feel like incorporating that time of like creating music?
Honestly, for me, it just feels like another job that's added onto my plate. But the difference is that this job is something that I like doing. Kind of like what I like the other things I'm doing too, but this one is more like I enjoy it.
Yeah.
A little bit more.
It's fulfilling.
Yeah. So I don't know. With that in mind, it is a job and you got to put more time in, but it's just something else that's added onto my plate along with everything else. So for me, I need that checklist. So yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. So let's see. Oh, this is a good one. So if you could do one thing over in your career, what would it be?
That's a hard one. I wouldn't necessarily say I would do it over, but one thing I've learned is you have to be a little bit more selfish with your time.
Okay.
You have to. I've definitely stretched myself thin. I think one of my things is that growing up, and I'm gonna just go in depth with y'all and just really be transparent. Growing up as a kid, I mean, the upbringing.
Very unique upbringing.
Very unique. I kind of had to do a lot on my own. jumped off the porch early, moved out when I was 17.
Like, we talking high school. This man got his own apartment, like pulling up in the car. Like, what? TVs everywhere.
So I mean,
but that's not why I got with him. No.
But definitely she was pulling up and all that. And so I mean, with that being said, I just want to say, like, I feel like I got to the point with music that I kind of like, I was really big on like building this team, right? Mm-hmm. And because I was trying to leverage time, because I feel like when we started Urban Trademark, it took off so fast. Yeah. Because I was fresh out of prison, mm-hmm. and we had a mission, mm-hmm. and we was just chopping off at the mission. We wasn't worried about nothing else. And then next thing you know, 7 was conceived, and now I'm like, I can't do all this. We can't do all this. And so I was like, okay, well, we have to cultivate a team. Mm-hmm. And now when I look back, I'm not going to say we still need a team, but I was so adamant on building a team that I felt like I wasted a lot of time on just putting pressure on that. Suppose we should have just kept going and just waited for the team to like kind of like, I don't know how to explain it. I feel like you're going to know when the right pieces come. Mm-hmm. And I was just so adamant on like picking the pieces. Like, yo, bro, I see you good at this.
You was trying to mold the pieces.
I was trying to mold it. And mm-hmm. I feel like you can't, especially in this generation, in this time, you can't do that. You know what I'm saying? Because one thing I've learned by being a lot next to a lot of successful people is that it's a frequency. Like when I get around like my more higher, people mm-hmm. that's highly, it's an instant click.
Mm-hmm. The energy
is like, you know what I'm saying? It's a go. Mm-hmm. But when I was getting around my peers, a lot of them, they wasn't kind of ready to go, like they wasn't ready to get on that path as quick as I was. Yeah. And I feel like a lot of times too, that goes back to my upbringing. Like I've been paying bills and rent and being responsible since I was 17.
Like you was an adult before even being an adult was even a thing.
So it's certain things in my mind that I'm thinking like this should be normal to them. But it's not. Now that I realize it, it wasn't. So I had to take accountability for that. Mm-hmm. And it took me a long time to realize that, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like I used to get so frustrated at certain people because I'm like, man, why you don't? But I just understand it's experience. And everybody's experience level is different. And it took me a long time. So if it's one thing, I wouldn't say I don't regret nothing, but it took me a long time to get to this peace of mind to understand like you can't really, the team it's hard to mold people in this generation because everybody right now is kind of like microwave. They want stuff so instant that you have to find somebody that has wisdom enough to know like anything you're curating takes time. Yeah. You know, and that comes with experience. Like when I get around a little, people around a little older than me or my age, they understand that. But I was around a couple, I'm not gonna say it wasn't my age, it's just the experience level wasn't there. And it's just like Pokemon. I like that, but it's the difference between a Charmander and a Charizard. You feel me? It's like the HP is different. I know that's kind of weird to say, but it's like it's all about experience. Even with music, like from when I first started to like where we're at now, it's night and day. Mm-hmm. And it's because I put a lot of OT in though. I put a lot of time in. I was treating it like a 9 to 5, but I was in the studio and I was in the other studio and so yeah, you have to find people that's very serious about their craft, man. Long story short, if there's one thing I can kind of like share with you guys, I wouldn't take back anything, but if there's one thing I could share with you guys that I had to learn is try to find people that have experience at the field that you're going into. I know often a lot of times you want to put your peers on, but when you really set on a goal, probably 90% of the time, your peers might not be on that frequency that you're on. So you have to find somebody that has a little bit more experience and wisdom so they can teach you things and y'all can build. And then later on, once your peers see that whatever you're doing is rolling and then you kind of feel like they there, then you could bring them on. But you can't help nobody if you don't help yourself. And that was my biggest thing. I was trying to help everybody and put everybody on.
While you were building your own brand and you being an own artist.
Yeah, and when I look at that, it's kind of like it's love, but I feel like, definitely I could have been a lot further if I was a little bit more understanding of, man, we gotta, because we seen it with Urban Trademark. We went from, in less than a year, we went from Venice Beach to the Beverly Center to like multiple different stores. And it wasn't because of nothing that we was just putting the work in and we was dialed all the way in. We both had that mindset of like, we trying to take this somewhere. Then in 2 years, we opened up our own store. That's crazy. Like, but it was like nonstop.
Yeah.
You feel me? And to oppose to like when it came to the music,
yeah,
I'm learning, and then I'm trying to put people on while I'm learning.
Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot. And if you guys don't know Urban Trademark, that's kind of like our brand, the baby. We started off with doing clothing, accessories. We kind of sold in the Beverly Center. So shout out to Jason and Rob.
Yeah, a big shout out to Jason.
And if you guys want to check that out, the link is definitely down in the description box. You can check out our website, but that's Urban Trademark. And yeah. Okay, so you would definitely value your time. Your time.
Man, because you know why too? Not to keep going too long, but winded, but because as an artist, your time is how you get paid.
Yeah, for sure.
You exchange time
in exchange for money, yeah.
And I was just giving it out for free.
Yeah.
For years. And it's love because I know in between that time, I've been able to help a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
But in between that time, sometimes I look up and I'll be like, especially now that I have 7 and I'm trying to maximize more time as I'm getting older, I look back at it like, damn, I should have been a little bit more selfish then.
Yeah.
But
you live and you learn.
Yeah.
And
yes, you
hopefully
do.
The people watching, they're going to take what you said and they're definitely going to apply it. What did it say? So we got a question. Do you two think that music reactions are tougher to produce now due to the copyright laws? I was just talking about that.
Yeah, you talking about that. I'm trying to like really, I feel like
it's definitely not fun anymore. I'm gonna say that because we used to love doing reaction videos, and the next day or within a couple hours, it's like we get a copyright strike. We got to take that down. So it's definitely changing.
I feel like it's not as I wanted to really think about your question. It's not as organic because what we was noticing was we would do a dope reaction and then it'd get taken down and then we'll do another one, but then it wouldn't be as pure because it wasn't an initial reaction.
Yeah, it wasn't organic, for sure.
And then after that happens, after a while, you start to realize like this is kind of like.
Yeah, I started falling back. I'm like, just me doing the reactions, I'm like, they about to take this down. This too good to be true.
Yeah, you going into it like.
Right. So it's definitely different now. I don't know how other people do it. They get to keep their videos up, but they would definitely come after ours. So
yeah, I think at one point then you find little loopholes. We was doing a lot of pausing.
Yeah, but
even then,
you lose the momentum. So we got, I feel like live reactions are really only visible right now. Live reactions. Okay. We haven't dived into that one, so it's worth a try. Live reactions.
Yeah, that might be it. Good looking. I appreciate that. That's a gem right there. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, yeah, we was doing mad reaction videos before we moved here. And it was fun though. It was fun because I love music. She loves music. And then like once it got political, for me, it's nothing better than whenever you listen to music, your first initial reaction is so pure. Like that's like when you get that smile that she just did, or you get the this ain't it.
Yeah.
And when you trying to recreate that, that's when it doesn't.
It's not real. It's fake. Like I gotta fake my feelings again on how I felt. So
it wasn't it.
Yeah, I got frustrated.
So I think that was another reason why when we moved here, we wasn't really in our bag to do it because we was like kind of over it. But I think now, like maybe McDouble was saying, just the live thing, just going live in general and just giving your feedback and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I think
we
that
definitely
could be
should
cool.
try it. Yeah, thanks for that suggestion.
Yeah.
Look more into it. Okay, let's keep the questions going. Okay. This one's a fun one. What's your favorite project that you've done that tells like a story or a significant like story behind it? Like, what's one of your favorite projects? And it could be not just music related. It could be like anything kind of in your life.
Probably do I have it around here? It's in between probably a coloring book I did with
Mm,
Clarissa.
mm,
And the reason why is that coloring book, I learned a lot as a creative from somebody who built a multi-million-dollar business and sold it. And in between of me helping her with the book, I was picking her brain because I just knew like I needed to do that because I know she's highly successful and I wanted the jewels, and she was giving them to me. And I think I learned a lot from doing that coloring book. I came out with a different mindset, and just yeah, man, that was just a great experience because that was the first time I was around somebody where I was able to really take a step back and kind of really learn. I'm not gonna say I don't learn from my peers and my homies, but this is somebody who built a company from like nothing and sold it for $900 million to NASA.
Shout out to Clarissa.
So shout out to Clarissa, and the fact that, and one thing that she taught me was is very very vital. But when she first reached out to me and she wanted to do a coloring book, she had about 20 of our coloring books and gave them out for Christmas. And she said she got a lot of good feedback. So she was like, yeah, Gordy, would you help me to do my own coloring book? And I was like, yeah, I'll plug you with Mike Goldstein. He's my illustrator. And you guys can just, go from there. And she was like, one thing that she taught me was she cut me off as soon as I said that. She said, no, Gordy, I want you to be a part of it. And I said, yeah. She was like, yeah. She's like, the reason why I like the coloring book because the synergy behind it. I know he's your illustrator, but obviously whatever ideas you was throwing at him, you guys working together is the reason why I like the book. And so I was like, okay, bet. So what I took from that was often a lot of times, especially in music, we try to I have this saying, once you find your blueprint, stick to it. Like Mike West, shout out to Mike West. He mixes all my music. After we cultivate the songs, I might add a couple sounds, do a little couple things here. I take everything to Mike West and I let him glass it up and put it together. And I've always had that mindset as like an entrepreneur / business. Like once I find something that's working, I double down. But she kind of solidified that because instead of what I've learned in this game is a lot of people just want the plug. A lot of people just want Mike Goldstein. You know what I'm saying? But she was like, no, Gordy, like I want you to be there. And interesting enough, as we're doing the book, I know I gave a lot of value because I was like, Mike, let's try this. Let's try. And she's like, yeah. And so that's when I realized, yeah, just being around successful people, that's what they say. It's like-minded people. Like she understood, it's all about putting the right people in the room to make the magic. It's not just getting Mike Goldstein. Even though I'm not saying they would not made a dope book, but she saw the value in the book that she loved initially, and she wanted that whole unit. And that made a lot of sense to me. Why would you cut that out? And this is the reason why you like this book, when ideally it makes more sense is to bring that team in, and 9 times out of 10 you're going to get those results or even more. And so that was one of that was one of the things that I really enjoyed the most because like I said, she gave me a lot of game. I learned a lot from her. And yeah.
Okay. So that was a significant moment in your career.
Sure.
Okay.
That and being in the Beverly Center.
Yeah. The Beverly Center. Let's talk about that.
Shout out to Rob. Shout out to Jason. I learned a lot about this business, and
Yeah.
Um,
We were fresh off Venice Beach selling hats.
fresh out of prison. Shout out to you. I was fresh out of prison, and Lika was just like, we already had talked in high school.
Yeah, we've been best friends since
Forever.
I can remember.
Yeah.
And yeah, he went to jail, and I'm like, where is this dude? I ain't seen him. I ain't heard from him. So I ended up looking for him, and he had just got out, and he didn't even look for a job. He was like, I'm gonna create my own job, right? And so he's looking around his room. Mind you, he got out of jail and had a whole place, like
apartment.
A whole apartment.
First day out.
So
it didn't have a lot. I don't want to act like it didn't have a lot in it. It just had a bed.
It had a bed, crate, and a TV. That's
all
it.
I had. But it didn't have my own spot. Yeah.
But so yeah, we looking around, and he like, what type of job could I make and create? So he was a shoe fanatic and a hat fanatic.
Always been a hat fanatic.
And so he's looking at these hats on his wall. But were they on the wall? They were somewhere in the room. Yeah. And he's like, what if I sell hats? I'm like, okay, where are we going to get them? So we ended up finding a wholesale hat place, and he bought a bin, bought a whole bunch of hats, put them in the bin, and he set up at Venice Beach, and people was buying. It was slow at first. And then once people started seeing you constantly on the boardwalk, because the boardwalk is just all full of people that come every single day.
We all trying to get it. We all trying to get it.
So they started seeing them, out there every day. And then next thing you know, he started booming, picking up. And then a law came. They put in effect, and they said you can no longer sell
mass-produced stuff.
You can no longer sell mass-produced stuff. You only can sell handmade stuff. So this broke his spirit.
It had to be considered as art. The law that was passed, that whatever you sell on that boardwalk, it has to be handmade in art. It has to be considered as art. And so I came home.
He was brokenhearted. His spirits was down.
Yeah, because I had motion. I had a lot of motion. I was like, I was banking. And so I came home and I was like, damn, Lika, they hated on me.
So it took about a day for him to bounce back. Yeah. And so he started thinking. He's like, all right, this ain't gonna stop me. I've been here before. So he started thinking. He's like, you know what? What if I do something to the bill of the hats? What if I get creative and do something? So I'm like, okay, let's try it. Me, I'm down. I'm down for whatever. He got the ideas. I'm the laborer, so let's do it. So we ended up, long story short, we made a hat. It was terrible at first, but we made it. I feel like it got better with every hat that we started doing.
Like anything.
Yeah.
It's just like the music.
And so then we had a couple hats. He put them back in the bin, and he was out at Venice Beach.
I was out on Fig, Broadway. I was out in the streets.
Yeah. Once he had this idea, he was like, "Oh no, this is fire! I'm taking this everywhere."
I'm gonna show it to the people.
So then, one of his friends, Rob, I guess had a store in the Beverly Center.
They had just opened up a store literally a week, and he was like, I just remember him reaching out. And he was like, "Bro, if those hats look like what they look like on the gram in person, we want to carry them. Just bring some up here." And when I tell you, it was like gold. I brought in the hats in there, and Rob was looking at it, dissecting it. I was like, bro, how'd you get it to be this clean? And I was like, bro, it was a process.
Yeah, fingers hurting.
Yeah, it was a process.
All type of
But we figured it out, and
then literally a couple days later, they sold out, and he was like,
but. Yeah, they did that, but I always go back to say this, because we always say that, but let's tell them how before they sold out, my mindset was I knew they was going to sell out, right? So most entrepreneurs, they going to be excited that they're in the Beverly Center. So they're going to kick back, have their feet up. And I'll never forget, I had told Lika, I'm like, they gone. They about to sell out. And she like, what?
It's not that I didn't believe, but I was like, okay, let's see. Let's see.
And I'm like, nah, we need to go downtown, buy more hats and more material, and have more supplies ready. So when they call us, we ready. And she was like, you think so? Like, wait till they sign, like, let them sell a couple. I'm like, nah, they gone.
Yeah, good thing he did that, because the next day we was already working on hats, and he told Rob, like, hey, I'll bring them in tomorrow. They will be there. So we was already
ready.
We was ready.
Preparation.
Yeah.
And so I say that a lot of times, like it's the mindset. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know 90% of the people, they just would have been excited to be in the Beverly Center and would have been chilling. But my mindset was like, I'm ready for the next game.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like the Kobe. Like, I always reference it Kobe because, like, you have to have this mentality. You know what I'm saying? And my thing was, I just, in my mind, I knew they were sold.
Yeah.
Because God didn't put us in the Beverly Center from the beach and we got a hot product
just to do a one wop.
Yeah. It just didn't, for me, I seen it. I already knew where we was going. I'm like, now we out of here. And sure enough, we was out of here, picking up checks every week or two, 6 bands, 8 bands. And so
had our living room looking like a warehouse.
Which is, but
yeah.
And so shout out to Rob and shout out to Jason because they gave us the opportunity. And that go back to, like I was saying with music, that was my first taste of what a team looked like. And it felt good.
Yeah.
It felt good going into that store and everybody that's at the store, they excited because I'm bringing in new product. It was just a good experience. And so I kind of like, I don't know, man. I kind of like that always rubbed off on me like, dang, like you could do big things if everybody on the same page.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever looked at it like that because, you know, we made a lot of money together.
Yeah.
And it was because everybody was doing their job.
True.
We was making the hats. Every time they called, we was ready. Every time. Now, one time they didn't call and we wasn't ready. Mm-hmm. And they was doing their job, but they was selling the product. Mm-hmm. They was like, nah, you know what I'm saying? And so that was my first taste of like, and we was all eating.
Yeah.
Jason, when we walked in, it was dun 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 dun. Like it was like that music was playing, and it was
go that man with the bins
for real. And so it was love, man. So yeah, that's just a quick story on like us being in the Beverly Center and how like it was a great experience, man. And I always will be thankful to Rob and Jason for the opportunity because
they opened a lot of doors. They in addition to that, we got our paperwork in order. It was a lot of things that
we didn't know
that streamlined our business. Like, oh, we got to get this in order. We got to get that in order. So it was definitely a great experience and opened up a lot of doors. So
it's a fact, man.
We got, let's see, we have another comment or question. So this is Corey. I was wondering about your reactions and where those had gone. Good insight. Totally understandable. Same thing happened to the Brad and Lex channel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, man. The whole reaction thing, I just feel like the labels, I don't want to go in depth, but to kind of like just sum it all up, right now, monetization is really big. Everybody want their money. Everybody. And so with that being said, I think the best thing you could do now is really just try to cultivate your own community and try to do something more like
kind of like organic, like a way for you to push out your own organic content. That way nobody can strike you, nobody can take it down. It's your content. So someone prior said live reactions, so that might be a thing. But I don't know. I'm gonna look into live reactions because I feel like they could still kind of strike you down.
So I think if you're live, you might be okay. I think what happens is if after we end the live, you can
like post it. Yeah.
I think if you post it, that's when they're gonna come and strike you. I think they can't strike you while you live because it's like live. But I think if you post it, and then you share it on your page, that's when they can come and send a cease or desist, take it down.
But all that's weak. Don't come for me because I feel like we're pubbing the music. Like, I don't know.
It's crazy because when we was doing the reactions, we had a couple, like Rich Brian was one of them, Rising 88. He reached out and he was like, yo, I love your feedback when it comes to music. Can you
do a reaction
to these songs and this rollout? And we did it. and that's probably one of our highest
videos.
One of our highest reaction videos. But it's all perspective. Like they looked at it like this is only going to give.
It's only going to help the brand and enrich. So like.
Yeah, but the labels they ain't looking at it like that. The labels is looking at like. And I don't know what the labels is looking at. Like, I don't know. I don't want to speak for them, but I do know like it's political because of this. And this always messes up the fun, so.
But I don't know. Keep watching. Make sure you're subscribed. I don't know. We might hit them with the live reactions. So just be prepared.
So we definitely going to try it.
Yeah.
And if it works out, it works out. But if it don't, I realize, man, being an entrepreneur, being an artist is all about trial and error. You try it. If it works, you double down. If it don't work, you make adjustments. So shout out to McDouble for that because we're going to try it. And if it works, it's all love. If it don't, we out of there. You know what I'm saying? But that's the thing, too. I'm out of there quick. My thing is I ain't dwelling on nothing no more.
And I feel like that's because we've gotten so many like Instagrams taken down. We've gotten so many things just yanked from right under us. So,
and it's gonna be more of that as we get further and further to the future. You got to realize like the money is getting tighter in every field.
Yeah.
So now the conglomerates they want it.
Yeah.
And so that's why it's big to build your own community. Because that's the only thing that's direct to consumer.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and so we had that discussion, but that's a whole nother like.
We'll save that for the next.
Yeah, that's a whole nother thing. But
So yeah, that's all the questions I have. Good job. Nice. All right. So let's get into this playlist we've been cultivating, right? So. If you guys want to check out the playlist that we're cultivating, it's down in the description box. And basically, this is like some new artists that we newly discovered or came across. And just a disclaimer, some of the artists may not be new. They are new to us.
Or just new songs.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Which one should we hit them with? So yesterday we played Zaddy by Amar. If you guys haven't heard it,
I like Young Rock. I mean, he been around a minute.
I like Young Rock. Yeah,
he been around a minute. Let me see. What about?
And if you guys got some suggestions too, like send them our way.
What about Wifey? Young Rock, Wifey.
Wifey.
I don't even think you heard that. I put that in there.
Oh, that's new.
It ain't. Well. It came out a couple months ago, but I just kind of added it, I think, yesterday or the day before yesterday.
All right, so let's get into this Young Rock. This is called Wifey, and we got Nassan on this too. So let's get into it.
What?
Okay, hold on. Oh, right here. I think we gotta. And then that one.
There we
go. I like the beats. Let's build it up.
See, this is the feedback I like. It's honest because she ain't heard it yet. I'm all about the organic feedback when it comes to music. That's how you know.
It's a live performance. Oh, this is the anthem.
I'm to the point where shit don't excite me. Call parlay, bitch, I need a white tee. See a white thing without me, she ain't wifey. But I swear to God, bitch, look like wifey. I'm the best thing, nigga, that you can't be. I'm the best style, niggas like it can't be. Yeah, I wanna see me fall back to bed or something. It's like seeing Virgil in some fashion, no. Come through and take your whole city, yo. Come through and take your whole city, yo.
I like that.
Niggas better cough up that back.
That flow, they go with the beat.
Cause I'm pulling up fast.
Hey, come baby, truck, I'm on the dash. Let's go to swag, gotta put down my right feet. Diamonds on me, water, and I'm trying to need a ride. Flow to my city, I'm the reason that he mine. She asked me for 10K when we do a 10. She's over. Good head, baby, let me think. Get off shot. Swear, baby, put a bend. Yo, she get cold on a nigga like me. And so the
Cover that? I just came across this probably like a couple days ago. I'm like,
Yeah, good ad.
I'm to the point where shit on the side me. Hard parlay, bitch, I need a white tee. See a white thing, probably she ain't wifey. But I swear to God, bitch, look like wifey. I'm the best thing, nigga, that you can't be. I'm the best out niggas like you can't be. Yeah,
so young rock, you've been having those for a while.
I see it virtual fast, you know.
Yes, sir. We out here, you know, we got a little game of beer pong that just finished. There's no women everywhere. Tall niggas, swanky niggas. He got a baby shirt, bro. You can't down him. Let's analyze that. Weak ass jeans on. Super jeans, are you sure?
This part is like,
300? But this is the real test. Are there Gucci socks?
All that good.
this is one of those personal, like, I want to throw it in, but it's like, but the wifey, the whole, like, I'm going to break down the song and why I like it.
Okay, they gonna end out the song like that, so we can.
But so first things first, the beat. I'm always big on the beat. Like the beat, if your beat ain't really, the beat is what move you. Like before you heard lyrics, like so psychology is a real thing in music.
Mm-hmm.
So
you heard those horns, those.
Not only that. So when we played the song, I looked at you.
You looked at me?
Yeah, because I do that a lot when we talk about music. Yeah, I do that a lot. But I looked at you because if you start doing this before you hear a lyric, I know we have something. We have a foundation. Mm-hmm. Now where we going with it? And so like as soon as it came on, you start doing that first 7 seconds. Boom. Now it's like can he keep you? Mm-hmm. And that's the melody and the flow. Yeah. And so I feel like the melody and the flow, because you said he was like, okay, I like the flow, I like the melody. Those are the two things that he executed very well. So those are the details that, like, as a producer, my mindset is like structure. Mm-hmm. You know, structure is really big, you know, everything, you know, and so yeah, I feel like that's one of those ones where I'm like, yeah, that needs to be on the playlist. So
yeah, that was a good call. I like Young Rock's music. We've been following him for a while.
For a minute.
And he got some bops. But this one is a new bop. Definitely feeling it. I feel like that last part of that song was just them having a good time. Just adding a little bit of different flair.
Yeah, that's a personal, like, I want to throw this in for all the homies.
It kind of reminded me of like what's that big like festival?
Coachella?
No, not Coachella. Like it used to be like in the 90s.
Oh, Woodstock.
No.
I mean, that ain't the 90s. I'm tripping. That's like the 60s. I'm off.
And when I think of it, I'm gonna put it, but it gave me those vibes toward the end. Like they had a function, like everybody turning up, having a good time, drinking, smoking, all of that. So yeah, I don't know. When I heard it, I just instantly thought of that. I don't know why, but yeah, the song is a bop. Guys, check out the playlist.
And also send in emails. Like if you want us to review any music or if you want us to just, you know, give you some honest feedback, feel free to send it in. But then feel free to, understand, like when you send it in, I'm gonna chop it up. Like I'm here to kind of give you that honest, raw. I want to see you better. Like, you know, I think you only can get better through honesty. Yeah. You know, I think that's the only way to get better. And I think, like, you know, not to go in the Kobe and Jordan, but like, dog, like, if you really dissect them, you will understand what it takes to win. You have to really understand it. Like, honesty is so, when you talk about creativity, you talk about winning, you're talking about just going to the next level in anything, you gotta be honest. You gotta be transparent.
And you gotta be able to receive that criticism as well. Like, yeah, you could give it, but the other person gotta receive it on the other end, and that's how
you're gonna get better. Because I feel like, you know, we all start somewhere. I think one thing I've realized with music and even in fashion is that Look at this. When we first started doing the hats, right?
Mhm.
What did I do? I went on YouTube and I typed in custom. I'm giving y'all the game of what I did and why honesty and transparency is real. I typed in custom hats.
Yeah.
Just Don was doing hats.
Mhm.
Remember how we watched that video?
Yeah.
But he was only doing python hats.
Like leather, real exotic.
Exotic pythons.
Yeah.
So what I did was I took the inspiration of what he gave me, what he broke down about the $150 hats. He was giving a lot of game and a lot of jewels. And I kind of tried to take that and kind of molded it to what we made, which with the fabric and we figured out how to do it and make it look different. And so I think the one thing I just be dreading me, you asked me a question earlier about music, and it's like, you work with so many people that just feel like it's their way or the highway.
And that's not.
That's
not
not
gonna get far.
You're not gonna get.
I feel like people like that, they in a box and they feel like they can't step out the box.
And I feel like because you know what's crazy when the music that like you be always playing, like you always bring up Aaliyah, Missy Elliott, then like the 90s and the 80s music. Mm-hmm. We love those music because it was a lot of like synergy in those rooms. Mm-hmm. It was writer camps, it was producers, it was multiple people in those rooms giving feedback. Mm-hmm. And that's why those songs are timeless, is because the energy and the feedback. Hey, we should try it like this, or you should put a drop here.
So it basically had a little bit of sprinkle from everybody in that room.
You see what I mean? That's a fact. And so that's why now the music is a little different, because the moment you give a nigga a sprinkle,
you're like, nah, I don't want that sprinkle.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? On this Big James. And it's like, bro, like this one sprinkle might make the song go to the next level.
Or you could take that sprinkle and do your own kind of sprinkle.
It's just, you know what I'm saying? Just take the feedback and just see what you want to do with it. But yeah, that's one thing I learned with music is like,
you got to be able to receive that info.
You got to, man. That's why I like I said, shout out to Mike West. We work good together because Mike West would do something and I'd be like, I'm honest. When I'm in the studio, if a nigga do something, you gonna know from me. I'm gonna be like, whoo, Mike, you killing it, bro. That's it. And if you do something that I'm like,
that ain't it.
You know what I'm saying?
Try it again.
Yeah, but it should be like that. You feel me? To oppose to like you in the studio and you don't want a nigga to try nothing because you just want it to be like your way. And it's like that one little sprinkle, that one little drop, that one like
can make the song.
Mm-hmm. Even like when we did Zaddy, I was like, you should put some
the camera flashes. And I was like, okay, let's see how it sounds.
Boom. Mm-hmm. And that's a part that when it come on,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like it be those little nuances that really can like take a song to the next level, and so you gotta like. But I noticed this though. And this is free game. Every successful artist that you see that's high up, they understand what I'm breaking down. Drake, 40/40.
Yeah.
His team. Kendrick Lamar, his team. You know what I'm saying? Like, they understand this breakdown I'm giving you. So you got the key thing, go back to what I say, is like, y'all got to be on that frequency together in that room. You know, and it's always got to be for the see, the thing about music is always should be for the common good for the music.
Yeah.
Not for the individual soul, for the common good of this sounds good for the music.
Because people are going to listen to it outside of you. So, yeah.
That makes sense, right?
Yeah, makes total sense.
Just, you know.
But, that's today's live stream. Thanks for rocking with us. Be sure to check out all the different links down below. We got the playlist. We got websites. We got a whole bunch of stuff for y'all to check out. And thanks for rocking with us again. We'll see y'all tomorrow at 6 p.m. Pacific time. Yeah, and we out. And if you can't be on time, be early. Bye, y'all.